Hello, and good morning or good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever we are. Hope you're having a wonderful hump day. Um, Forgive me, I'm still feeling a little cough from time to time, so excuse me. Ah, almost there, and I feel good, feel pretty alive and full of some new energies that have been coming through. So we're going to share some more about that down the road. But right now, let's see where we begin. I was meditating this morning on if there's a theme I could share about my journeys. I'm going to put a lozenge in until we're ready to channel. Sorry, in just a couple minutes. Um, and I wasn't coming up with a whole lot of anything. So here's what was coming to me, though. That is, mm, in the many years that I've done one form of this work or another, almost always it has been my intention, and I say almost always because I'm human and who knows, I've maybe got into fits and little tantrums from time to time. But it's my intention to be first and foremost clear and receiving my own messages on a regular basis. And as it is my soul's purpose, then I surrender into a deeper state of trance and offer messages or teachings or wisdoms from the many ascended realms. So what I would share is that about all that is that I began as an adult consciously connecting with my guardian angel that I met when I was in kindergarten. I put her aside, obviously, for a number of years at some point, along with Mother Mary and a few others that were working with me closely much of my life. But when I first was reacquainted with Betty, as I called her in that time when I was 4 years old, I um, I just I felt and heard her presence like it's such a joy to remember that, to hear that since I had been so long. And I immediately connected to hearing as well as feeling the presence. And so I was taught some tools to align with that and to create a connection when I needed it, when I desired to stay in that frame of conversation. I, for years, kept journals. I really don't do it as discipline in that way anymore, but I kept journals of my daily keyword and worked throughout the day with that as an energetic anchor for myself to come use all my experiences of the day. What did that show me about this word or this feeling that I have with this word? Has it shifted at all? So, one of my great passions has been to share these tools, these techniques that I learned to everyone because people have wanted, over the years, wanted to learn how to channel. And to me, the first step in that is learning how to connect for your own self, not just to sort of reach out to another realm. It's possible. It's important that that could happen for a lot of people. It has been over the planet over the many years that the last, especially 30, 40 years, been growing as people have touched that part of their possibility. So there's nothing to take away from that. It is to say, not everyone will learn or feel it is their soul alignment to do channeling the way I do it, which is leaving my consciousness into another realm and travel and journey and so forth. But if anyone is interested in, I'm going to be creating a gathering either in person, which I'm not sure yet how that is, or over Zoom most likely, a series that I will coach people through making those connections and how to keep your field clear and centered and ready for interpreting and discerning your messages. So contact me if you're interested in that, and we'll line up what that's going to look like in the near future of our timing here. Uh, let's see. Um, I think if there's anything further, because No, I guess that's it. So I'm hearing that uh, the messenger is ready to share, and I'm going to step aside. So, um, so, so grateful for these beads lozenges, which I've gone through uh, a bag and a half of them in the last few weeks. So it helps me to settle a little bit. So one moment. All right. Greetings, I am called the Archangel Sandalphon. I have not shared in these ways for a long time for my human partnership here. So I wish to bring you today some teaching about the teaching of music. For that is one of my intentional purposes in sharing support and reminders and opening doorways for the music to become more clear for everyone here. For the music exists already beyond what you think you hear, beyond what you think you feel or create. It already exists in the tones and frequencies of sound, in light. And so what we encourage is that individuals begin to be very discerning about, in the quietude of their own inner being, to notice the frequencies they feel when they listen to various interpretations of music. We're not judging any of it. It is important to know that each carries a frequency, aside from the individual notes themselves, in the totality of how they're put together, which either uplifts and moves your healing of chakras, or it can push them down and temporarily suspend your balance feeling. That's not a judgment, because it can bring joy to be in those frequencies. We just want you to be discerning of them if you so choose to look at that, to feel that, to hear the distinctions. So one of the ways in which this can be done is to first notice when you hear ringing, as it is called, in your ears, or frequencies of sound that is not usually pleasant to the human body, caused by any number of reasons within the form. Rather than notice it in a way, or try to push it away, notice it in a way that's disturbing to you, find that you can meditate with that as the sound frequency of the Om, of the resonance of beginnings of life. It is your soul echoing in the universe. Start to notice, if you choose, that those sounds you hear in inner ear that are not placed there by the conscious thought, by other conscious sounds that are coming to you. It is not interfering. It can be the background of life, which you hear and then maybe don't even hear in the same intensity, as you begin to assimilate that, to associate those frequencies with your divine presence, with the sound of creation. Exercise number 1, play with your inner ears interpretation of the frequencies, and let that be a meditation and healing for you. Point number 2, I invite you to make a practice of listening to specific frequencies as they are given to you by very specific instrumentations. The human voice, which is so full of possibilities of expressing, a flute, a violin, the strings, the deeper strings like the cello or the bass, what has been known as keyboard or piano or pianissimo. Notice the distinction you hear in all these, in the sound of the brass, in the sound of the reeds. How do you feel with the frequencies of various sounds? When orchestras are put together to create harmonies or intentional disharmonies for many purposes, one gets to experience it, usually in the whole of it. Sometimes, if you're trained, you will hear the distinctions showing up. So train yourself to listen to the distinctions, even if you would make the inner study of listening to your recordings as they exist of the sounds of each of these specific types of music. We are training you with this to be open to all of it and to be discerning of what is uplifting you truthfully of your soul and what is maybe created with the intention to be disruptive to your soul and to be disruptive to your physical being. The truth is, in your world, there are disruptively, intentionally disruptive frequencies that are created and impressed upon you. So as you practice number one, the inner frequency you hear, and then noticing the frequencies of all the variations of music in their singular seeming calling of those notes and tones with you, you begin then to fully understand how it is that you can use the skills from these things, these listenings, these integrations of all that feels with you, to be in a blessing with all the frequencies that may have been created intentionally for not so loving purposes. So we don't set you to fear of those. We set you to be trained to be discerning so that you have methods of your consciousness to reinterpret those frequencies, to shift those frequencies, to tune out those frequencies into a greater sphere of light where you are not physically challenged with it. You shift your inner dimension with all of that, and you bring love to all those things to help heal all that within you that it might represent and what the intentions are. You cannot change another's intention. You can only recreate your own experience with all that gets presented to you. And without judgment, the recreation is part of the training we've also been aligning with, and the angelic and ascended realms to present you with tools to use, to transmute, to expand, and to focus all these aspects of light through sound in this case that are yours to heal, to be present with, to enjoy. Along with my beloved brother Michael, we have helped to bring forward certain technologies and understandings of the tonalities and frequencies into various vessels who will understand interpreting those things and teaching them, such as how to measure where frequencies may be missing in your own tones, in your own voice. What is high and low, what is balanced, what is seemingly missing, so that you can find ways to use that missing note or frequency to realign and heal and fill in the places of your body and mind that maybe didn't know that's what it was missing. Helps the healing process. Another thing we have offered for humanity is the technology to clearly hear the recordings of things. That's not entirely perfect, indeed. But as you can remember, perhaps, the beginnings of recognizing the power to record sound and voice, many decades or years and years ago in your world now was sort of pleasant because it was new, but it was rough. A lot of crackles, a lot of things that were not fully captured. And then the technologies became attuned to things which now could clarify the intentional sounds. And more joyfully, we say, the technology of how to lay in as an unheard in a physical way frequency of intentions of healing and of possible upliftment. Some musicians, some artists in those realms have done this. They play, you don't hear those frequencies consciously, but they're included in the recording, in the underlay of the frequencies from the voice, from the other musical instrumentations. It's all there in a more whole way. So you've heard of subliminal messages that may be things you see, like little flashes you subconsciously see of words or images, and they're done in wonderful ways and in manipulative ways, and so be it. So this isn't to manipulate, it is with the intention of aligning for a greater healing, but it is subliminal in that way that it's not part of the conscious tonality. So see these technologies that we have been supporting humanity to become one with the tone of their wholeness, the chord of life which they live in. Will you then sing even more fully than you've ever sung before, knowing that music is so powerful for you to heal and your body when you sing with the wholeness of your body form, and you bring out the tones in a more clearly playful way. You are then, as many used to call it in years and years ago when things were such spoken, that singing is a prayer. It is like praying twice with the words and with the tone and your gift of all of it. It's a magical, wonderful thing you can do. Whether you're trained well, as some would think of it, in your voice to sing, you can sing from all that you feel inside. And we encourage that the music you learn is always with you. When you notice that the musical notations that have been discovered to represent sound carry in alignment with various other kinds of mathematics, other kinds of expressions, other kinds of artistic geometries and methods of drawing and representing, you realize that music has been with the sound of the wholeness sound from all that can be considered the beginning of life. So you've had lessons many times about the speaking words, the proclamations of I am. We're going to only say, I am Om. And know that when you listen or train in music, you need to, at one point, you're invited to at least, notice the notations and the tonalities and the scales and all the way music is received and given. It's not the same in all cultures on this planet. Some carry a more guttural, sort of others carry the notes of what is thought to be some Eastern to your world culture play that none of it's wrong. You know that. So what if you learned there is a marriage of these things, a union of these things, these types of sound, of scale, of noticing music. Thank you, my friends. So, listen to the sound within your ear with a new intention, a new purpose, and a new willingness for it to be more than a disturbance. Practice listening for the variations of tones from different instrumentations, whether it is singularly or in orchestration together. And notice that you can play with the technology of sound in such a way that sound can reach you without the human ear discerning it. Imagine that that's true, the way that you are well aware that your human vision does not completely grasp and notice the distinction in all the light spectrum. Some animals, some beings have various ranges that are not in your range. So there could be sounds that are not in your range, not just dog whistles, as some will say, but beyond all of that, the frequency that you just haven't been trained to acknowledge, to know, to hear, it's still now available for you to receive it in a loving, conscious way. Just as you might receive a smile, just as you might receive the look of someone's eyes within your eyes, just as you might receive the wind blowing through trees and into and through things, just as you might receive the landing of a butterfly upon you. All of this is a frequency that you've invited, that you are mostly aware of on a physical or visual or basic auditory way, but there's so much more that it represents. Have you not heard that someone can actually record sounds of a butterfly wings magnified so much that you can hear them in a new way? Things like that, which you're just not conscious of, exist. So have fun and play. And if you choose to learn, to teach yourself, to be taught learning how to play an instrumentation of sound, how to use your voice in new ways, we are with you. We send support of the angels with you. Because Sandalphon is your presence of love, of music. And have a blessed day from all the heavens where we dwell, as you are always there with us. Thank you. So, let's see. Very briefly, I had a great experience speaking with my dear spirit friend Ariana, Goddess of Truth, and she was giving me some reminders about my personal feminine energy, and that's a big lesson. Many layers to that. So thank you for the gift of that, as you gave me the gift of your presence to offer this. We invite you to go to our webpage and sign up if you choose to receive daily messages, point of peace messages from many, many loving beings of light, and any other offerings that we are presenting, including our next Zoom, which will be up next month, February, and last Saturday of the month. And just invite you to check all that out, because it is such an honor that I have to be given the guidance to offer these things and then to share them. Just a note. Way back in the beginning of this conversation, I was sharing about how at some point I was reconnected with my angel Betty, who renamed herself quite a number of years later. That's another story. But she uh, gave me an understanding, or presented to me possibilities of understanding that um, there is the discernment of what I need to share and what I need to internalize. And sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's as a timing thing. But I'm grateful for that. Each person offers me that gift of reflection, that I learn again to deepen my listening with spirit, to listen and discern more clearly who am I in it, what is my role now, what is my soul's choice now. And so that's part of the game of playing with spirit. So I hope I can present some of those, more of that with you down the road. And until then, have a beautiful rest of this hump day, and we'll see you next time.